Here we go, another episode of Canada on the Rocks. I am your host, Fadi Kader, local realtor with Sutton Group Ottawa. And today we are joined by one of my best friends, also my brother, Sarwar Qureshi. And this is specifically for Beyond Networking. We are talking everything about Beyond Networking. First of all, Sarwar, thank you so much for the coffee. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. What I want to do, if that's all right with you, to start off, I want to kind of get an understanding of what is Beyond Networking all about.
Definitely. And thank you for the invite. Great to be here. Great to see you again. Always nice to, have these chats and share ideas. By all means, Beyond Networking is an organization that we started, I'm going to say about 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And originally the goal was bring people together, discuss opportunities. Someone might have a business deal. Someone might be looking for a job. Someone might be looking to hire an employee. When you get good people in a room together, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
What someone needs, what someone can help with. And over time, it grew. When you have a small group at the beginning and you're doing a good job, people hear about it, whether it's through word of mouth, whether it's through social media, whether it's through an article in the Ottawa Business Journal. And over time, that 7-8 years that we've been going at it, it grew and grew. And today it's, a fairly large organization in Ottawa.
It's definitely large. It's a big group as well, too. And it's always so exciting. And people are always reaching out going like, what is this party? Like, what's going on? Can I get an invite? Of course you can. You're always invited. Everyone is invited to this. So when I look at networking in general, I've been doing networking events for probably close to 20 years, whether it's with software, whether when I was Rogers, like just so many different ways of bringing business.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the thought is always, what business can I bring out of this? With Beyond is a little bit different. I feel like it's a different approach. What is, in your opinion, what is the goal of Beyond Networking in general?
Yeah, and to dive into that, it all starts with the name. We came up with the name Beyond Networking because we wanted it to be beyond what typical networking is. And if we start with typical networking, my experience in the networking scene is you go to an event and someone's like, what do you do? That's question number one.
Here's my name.
Here's my name.
Yeah.
And sometimes what do you do is more important than your name.
Correct.
Can you help me with something? Can you become a client of mine? And it's sometimes very aggressive of like, here's my business card. Yeah. Can I have your business card? Can we do a deal together? It's very sales, very pushy, and we felt, the people that helped me with Beyond Networking at the very beginning, that once you get to know people and you want to do business with them, those are two separate things. You could have people that you want to do business with or don't want to do business with, but at the very least, we should just have good people, have good quality people and not be so worried about the transaction. That's where it kind of started and we came up with this tagline or slogan, people before profession. So we're not necessarily worried about what do you do. It's like, what's your name? How are you?
Yeah.
What brings you here? Where are you from? Get to know people, break down barriers, get a little bit further into the relationship. And if networking takes you to business, so be it. If it doesn't, then maybe you have a friend.
And that's the thing, too. Like, one of the biggest thing that I've realized with coming to Beyond for the last year and a half, nobody goes there with the intention of 100% I want to do business. That's sort of went away. What's the intention is I just want to go and have fun and get to know those people and get to understand what they're all about as people. And then from there, believe it or not, like the transactions do happen. The business come from it. But it's because that you took away that sense of like, that commitment of, I got to get a business out of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it became a little bit less hectic, a lot less sort of pressure to do business in a way. So when you guys first started, that was how many years ago?
I'll say 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Describe it to me back then. How was it?
There was a few of us, and we were young in our careers. I'm an accountant. That's my background. There was a guy named Saad. He's a financial planner. There was Adil, the mortgage broker.
Mm-hmm.
You know Adil. There was different people of different types, banker, realtor. And for the most part, all of us are wanting to do more business. When you're young in your career, you're hungry.
Yeah.
I want to find more deals. I want to be out on the scene. I want to be pounding the pavement. I want to do something. And most of us would bump into each other at other networking events. Ottawa has a whole bunch of networking events that you can go to. But we just thought, hey, let's have something for us on a semi-regular basis where we can get together and just discuss our deals, our opportunities, our, what's going on. And I think at the beginning we made it on a quarterly basis and we played around with the frequency over time. But at the beginning it was literally 6 guys,
coffee.
As basic as it sounds.
Yeah.
Coffee. There was a coffee shop on Spark Street. I remember we went to a couple times. And we would just get together and, share ideas. Like, this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing. And over time, doing the same thing kind of got stale. You're meeting at the same place, same thing every time got stale. And I felt like, let's add an icebreaker on top of the networking. So we're not just meeting and networking per se. The icebreaker could be mini putting. The icebreaker could be, escape room.
Yeah.
Axe throwing.
It's really like you're putting a cool spin on it because it's no longer like a boring date. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah.
It's actually like you're going out, like you're having fun, you're engaged, you're really getting to know the person on a different level. Like we talked about the axe throwing, we just mentioned that.
Yes.
I didn't feel like when I was at the axe throwing, I didn't feel any pressure to do business. I didn't feel like I needed to be anything else but myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty about it is like, it feels like everybody gets to know everybody else at the different level.
Yeah, and really, ice-breaking team-building events are very common, but traditionally they're only done internally in organizations.
Yeah, like a team building event kind of thing, yeah.
Like the accounting firm I used to work for, we're going back like 2014 and before that, I was actually on the social committee, and I was part of organizing their holiday party.
You don't tell. I was on the social committee. Of course you were.
We would go bowling. We did a family picnic at Britannia, all these events. And part of what Beyond Networking became, I got the idea from that, is team building internally in an organization is great. You go to a hockey game together, family picnic, all this stuff, holiday party. But there isn't really team building that's open across culture, across organizations. Like I work with this realtor, I work with this banker, I work with this lawyer, and I want to do a team building event. It's really not like common. Mm-hmm. And I felt like Beyond Networking could fill that niche where we could put together axe throwing, mini putting, paintball. Like we've done so many things over the years, horseback riding, like the craziest things you've heard of. And invite anyone, like you said, anyone's invited. There's no like restriction or certain types of people or certain limit of professions that are allowed. Anyone can come.
The other thing too that like just sort of feels a little bit different than every other, networking events that I've ever been to is that one, it's welcoming, right? You've got a lot of different sort of walks of life coming in. Mm-hmm. More important is that it's pandering to the small business. And the small business, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the small business, you feel isolated. You feel like you're alone. When you're, 1 to 2 man shop or maybe 5, mm-hmm. It's very hard for you to be able to do a team building activity, or if you are, it's just very small. And then when it comes to things like Christmas parties and what have you, it's a quite an ordeal to put something like that on. You guys have been doing it in a different way. So talk to me a little bit more about, those holiday events and things like that we've been throwing.
Yeah, and that relates to the work that I do as an accountant. The clients I work with, a lot of them are solopreneurs, freelancers, one-person show, mm-hmm. small businesses, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
There goes the work Christmas party. It's just like you and your dog, maybe.
Yeah. How are you going to have a holiday party if you're a solopreneur? And there's so many people like that in this day and age, right? They work on their own or they work as a freelancer, those types of roles. And when I was looking at my client base and I was talking to those other key people I mentioned earlier, we just thought if we made the idea of a holiday party and opened it up, all these people might find value in it because they're also on their own. They're also solo or 2, 3, 4 people, and they're not going to have the resources or volume to do a big holiday party. To do a big holiday party, that in my mind, a holiday party is kind of like a banquet hall, a restaurant.
And that's the thing for like someone that's small, like they're sort of kind of limited with the resources they have, and then they're going to end up, possibly going to Broadway for brunch or something like that. Like that's not really a holiday party.
It's
But
not it's not the same. Yeah,
Exactly.
and those are great too. Like by all means going to a restaurant as a team, but you're not going to be able to get the full restaurant or the full venue, which to me a holiday party means, this is our space, it's our team, we've taken it over. Like last year you came to that event that we had and it was just us. And that's really what it started off as. And that too has grown. This year that we're coming up on, 2024, is going to be our 8th holiday party. And the first holiday party we had was maybe 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
And over time we've stretched that up to close to 200. So it grows and grows. People see the value. People see, this is what's going on. And now they can join in and feel like they belong to a community.
Any spoiler alerts on the holiday party this year?
It's probably going to be mid-December. That's usually our timeline. And hopefully within a week, we'll be able to announce the exact date and the venue. We're just trying to get that finalized. I don't want to put a spoiler out there because if that venue or that date doesn't come through, then you gotta
13th.
Then you gotta pull it back.
Not the 13th. I just want to make sure I'm not double booked. That's all.
Not so far.
Tell me a little bit more about some of the interesting characters that come to Beyond.
Yeah, of course.
When I say I obviously not mentioning any names, but just some of the makeup of the group.
Yeah, there's people of all walks of life. I believe you hinted at that earlier. There's a lady, and she basically has multiple businesses. And she wears different hats. Like she has a day job. She runs, the picnic business. So I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And she has a very bubbly, outgoing personality. Very fun to be around, smiling, making people feel welcome, introducing herself to people. Like someone like her is one of our main people because they're quite frequently there. Mm-hmm. There's another guy, and he is the epitome of fashion. Right? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. His style game is at a very high level.
I'm gonna bet the audience to just put it in the comments if they know who we're talking about.
Sure. He's in a lot of our pictures, so I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And these people add their own flair because when they come, like for example, when I'm around that guy, it's like I have to dress up, right? I can't be showing up disheveled, which I often do because that's my style. My style is to not have style. But he's at another level. And there's a few people like that. He's not the only super well-dressed person that we have. There are some people that are, very funny. They're just cracking jokes. They're always got people laughing, telling stories, things like that. There's a few people that are into fitness, and they come and they have different types of fitness businesses, and they're trying to share, this is like something that you can get into.
Yeah.
And I feel like what everyone brings is unique to them, but it's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there's a lady, and the lady I'm talking about when I mention what she does, she basically has her own. She's a professional. She's a healthcare professional, but then she just started helping newcomers. That became her thing. Newcomers, especially from Palestine with what's happening these days, she basically made it her mission to help them.
Yeah.
So all these people have something interesting going on, and it's very interesting, very almost enthusiastic for me to see their level of commitment. And then I want to be like, how can I help? How can I help you? I have a newcomer coming. You have, you're trying to help people get fit. You're trying to help people with style, whatever it is. I'm passionate about your passion.
The one thing that I've noticed after, any event that we host, that people come in and go. The event might be for 2-3 hours at the most. And literally, you got somebody that comes in from the beginning till the end. You have somebody that comes in midway, 10-15 minutes, somebody that will stay in for an hour. But what I really noticed at the end is everybody has this social high, if you know what I'm talking about. They're literally high on that socializing that they just did. They're all in really great mood, very excited. They're all excited to also do business.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's not a stressful event. It's not something that you come in and you're literally being robotic and hi, my name is so-and-so. I do this and this and that. No, none of that. It's just very easygoing. Everybody just walks in, walks out, talks for, the butterfly effect. Everybody's just walking around talking, mingling, having fun. In your opinion, what made it that way?
A couple of things. I believe, first of all, the way that we set up the events is it gives people to look forward to, something to look forward to. We live in a world where a lot of people are stuck in their day-to-day lives. Mm-hmm. It's very mundane. It's very repetitive. I have work, I have school, I have these obligations. Every day becomes a very routine and a grind. Some people call their daily life a grind.
Grind, yeah.
I'm grinding, and the way we set it up is we try to announce the events weeks, maybe months in advance. And for some people, it goes on their calendar and it becomes something to look forward to. On October 29th, on November 20th, I have this event and I'm looking forward to it. And we try to build up hype leading up to the event. We share, posts on social media. We share content. We try to get people into a mood almost like, if you were on a sports team, you're looking forward to the big game.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, it's just like it's, again, we changed it. It's just like a weird dynamic. When I was talking about maybe describing it with dating life, it's like it's no longer a boring date. So you're definitely looking forward to it, like to go out and like have some fun, have some sort of low pressure, talking to people and really just engaging with the conversation and getting to know them. A lot of those people became really close friends.
And to build on that, like when we have our events on a regular frequency, which we try to do, it's ongoing. It's not like we do one event a year and then see you next year. By having the events regularly, it builds a sense of community. It's kind of like when you were in high school, because you see the same people all the time, there's a natural sense of bond being built because you keep seeing them. It's like, oh, there's Dan, there's Mohammed, there's Fatima, and you see them every day or every couple of days and it builds. So in our case, because we have the events roughly on a monthly basis, people see each other and they pick up where they left off in many ways. I saw you last month, and then they continue, and then that builds the hype. I'd say another thing that we've added, which is maybe unique, is people really like to dress up, and then there's photographers, right? The photographers really add this element of like, sometimes I use hashtag paparazzi, or sometimes... You know what I mean?
Believe it or not on that one. I haven't actually, since I started coming to the events, I haven't had a chance, or the need, I should say, to go and take another photo. Like if I want to post it, want to put it on social media, anything like that. Like I haven't had the chance or even the opportunity or even like the need, literally, to go out and get a nice photo done for work or for profile or anything like that. Because I'm getting those left, right, and center coming in. So where did that idea come from to bring in a photographer and do all of that stuff? How did that come to fruition for you?
If I were to use like a very short answer and then expand on it, FOMO.
Okay.
If you follow us or you're part of our invite list, what I used to do at the very beginning when we were very small is I would send out an email to the people that wanted to attend our events or be on the mailing list, and I would not use any kind of software. It would just be a regular email, and I would attach the photos as attachments. Over time, I went from that to MailChimp. MailChimp is a much more sophisticated email software where you can design the email to look like a newsletter. So if you look at our emails now, you have pictures, you have text blocks, other blocks and things like that. And people see the pictures, see people they recognize, or see people they want to meet. They're like, oh,
man, I missed it.
One time someone messaged me, and there's a guy that owns a fairly decent-sized tech company in Ottawa, fairly well-to-do, fairly, successful. And someone saw a picture with him in our newsletter, and he's like, oh, I've been wanting to connect with that guy because he's a salesperson, and I haven't been able to connect with him. It's really tough. But if he goes to your events, I should be there because maybe I can meet him. And I said, yeah, that's, one of the benefits. But it all started with the pictures.
Yeah.
And originally the pictures were being taken on cell phones. But of course, you're at the event, you're taking pictures on your cell phone, quality, time, and attention isn't there. And I just decided, hey, we can, as part of Beyond Networking, support other businesses and other people in our community. Photographers were attending our events already. And I just asked them, hey, instead of attending as just you being here as a guest, would you also, for part of the event, maybe pull out your camera, take some photos? And they said, sure, that'd be a great way to highlight my portfolio or highlight my social media.
And the cool part is like all of the guests that show up, they reach out. Like I know either they reach out to you, sometimes they reach out to me, and just because I've been helping with a few of the events. Where are the photos? It's like they're always bugging us for the photos because it looks amazing. They want to be able to post it, so put it on social media, let people know what's going on, and to invite other people to come in because it's very, very like the environment is just so welcoming, so easygoing. Pressure is almost non-existent.
So now you can see why the photos create the FOMO, right? Like that fear of missing out. Same experience for me. You have the event and people are asking, hey, is there any good photos of me? Because I think, people like having and seeing nice photos of themselves and dressing up. That's another component. We have different themes. We had an all-white event. We had an event where you wore traditional outfits, if you have like a historical or heritage outfit from wherever you're from. And people just really like putting that out there, almost in a way that it's kind of like you feel like a celebrity. We want people to feel good and feel like, hey, come and get your picture taken.
You made it look like it was a celebrity because like there was this one video with all the ladies walking in with their dresses and it was gorgeous.
It's like a fashion show. And that
was, yeah.
I give all the credit to the photographer because when I had the idea that people get dressed up and then we had the event, she's like, I'm going to create a runway over here to the side, like where you come in. And she put like those ropes that you walk through and the ropes are hanging. And then she made like a little red carpet kind of style. And then you stop at the end and get a photo. Like,
oh, yeah. I walked in, I was like, whoa, I think I got caught in something here. So I had to walk back to redo it again, which was kind of cool. So what are some of the interesting stories or things that came out of the networking events for you for the last little bit?
I'd say one really, interesting story that came out of it is part of the goal of Beyond Networking, in addition to doing the events, is supporting good causes.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many causes out there that people need help with different things. Charities, organizations need help with different things. And whenever we get a chance to help, it really makes everyone feel good. Like to me, it's a win-win-win-win-win on multiple fronts when you're networking, hanging out with friends, supporting a good cause, photographers, and all that stuff we talked about. One good thing that came out of it is I met the lady that we did the event with, so I'm giving you the full backstory, at the axe throwing event. So we went to the axe throwing event, which you mentioned earlier. At the axe throwing event, I met the lady who works for United Way. And the axe throwing event, I think, was back in April.
Yeah.
And from that point onwards, I believe she and her colleague came to one or two of our events, got to know them a little bit. We had, I believe, a lunch with them. And they work for United Way, which is a wonderful charity that does wonderful things, helping homeless people, helping people that, have mental health issues. There's so many programs that they have. And through that lunch, we built an event to support United Way. And that was the last event we had. So it's the most recent event that we can chat about. And we did a brunch, and we called it the United Brunch, United Way meets brunch. And it was great, like you were there. They had their banners, they had their swag, they had their materials. They shared some bits about programs that they're doing. And I think, 75, 80 people enjoying a brunch, supporting United Way is a great way to spend a morning.
No, for sure. And I did have a question, which begs to ask itself almost every single day. Who is Beyond Networking?
Beyond Networking is a community. At this point, I don't want to feel like I am Beyond Networking because, it's not to use the name of any organization or business because I don't want us to be in a box. But when you think of a business or an organization, there are founders, there are key employees, there are key people. But I don't want it to take that person to take over the organization. When I think of a local business in Ottawa, there's different people that make it up, right? So I want Beyond Networking to be a community. Just like, to use an example, I live in Manotick. There's no one person that's Manotick. Manotick is a bunch of people.
It's a community.
It's a community, and you're a realtor, right? So you can appreciate
and
that.
The reason why I asked that question, though, just to give you a little bit of backstory, because I get a ton of messages to my inbox saying, hey, invite me to the next event. I'm not the one hosting the events, guys. We are, at the end of the day, we're just a community.
But at the very least, you can put them in the right direction.
Exactly.
And I think that's what a community is, right? At the end of the day, I maybe have some rules. Like I send out the emails, I add people to the email list, I run the social media account. Like I have some things that I do, but in no way, shape, or form am I the only person that does anything. My wife does a ton of work, and we probably wouldn't be here today if she didn't encourage me and help me with many of the things. My wife has a sister that's helped us. Her brother's helped us. People like yourself, Rana,
Anmar, so many folks out there.
Yeah,
Megan.
There's so many. Aya.
Everybody. This is the beauty of it. It's a community at the end of the day. reach out to anybody that's tagged into the post, and they'll get you there.
At the end of the day, that's
I'm not
what
saying
I
don't reach out to me, guys. It's just you can still reach out to me, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's a community. It's not just like we're doing this as a community. Some of us have been doing it for years. Some of us just joined, but at the end of the day, it's really there to empower the whole entire community and get us all on the same level.
Yeah, and also to make it feel like if you want to join and get involved, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Like someone can come and just come as an attendee and literally enjoy it from that perspective. As an attendee, you get lots of benefits. But if someone says to me, hey, I'd like to help plan an event. Hey, I'd like to help with some of the bigger events that need volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when we did that event last year at Alora, you remember? We had we created a toy mountain for Chio.
Yeah. So that had like at least 10, 15 people volunteering in it.
Right? Because there was a lady that said to me, hey, I'd like to help with the event. What do you need help with? And I said, well, people are going to be coming. They're going to have coats. They're going to have gifts. They're going to, come into a space and not know where to go. Can you just be part of like the ushering service? Because there's going to be a lot of congestion, at an entrance of an event when there's a lot of people coming. Gifts go here, coats go there, all these different things. And she jumped on it. She did a great job. And then the biggest help, or I don't want to use that, the biggest help, but a big help was at the end of the night, I thought, okay, 2-3 people in their cars will take these gifts home. But we had so many gifts. If anyone has kids and you've bought a brand new car seat before, you know how big it is in the box. We had 4 car seats. So at the end of the night, I'm kind of looking at things and I'm like, oh, I thought I would just put stuff in my car, and 2-3 other people had offered their vehicles, but there was just too much stuff. I'm like, this is not going to work. And then if 3, 4, 5 different people take the stuff home, then we have to coordinate getting it to Chio.
Exactly. Yeah.
This one guy, Mace, he has a construction company. He just stepped up. He said, I'll call one of my guys and he'll bring the Sprinter van, and everything can go in there. And it's it was such a big assist at the end of the night that he picked everything up for us.
And that's the thing, because at the end of the day, it is a community, and the beauty about this networking community is that we all just want to help. We all just want to help each other. What I find, and this is maybe just me, but like what I find, majority of the people that show up, they have, I want to say like maybe 10% intention of doing business, but the rest of it is just really getting to know people. And like getting to know them on a different level, like not just the surface level of shaking hands, hey, my name is so-and-so, a little robotic, like none of that stuff.
And I believe like maybe it's a North American thing, maybe people that have lived in different parts of the world or they visited other parts of the world. The question of where you're from and the question of like, how are you? Those are, to me, more important questions. How are you? How's your family?
Yeah.
How's your
I thought
day?
that actually, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, but that question, where you're from, I thought that to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's like, she would never ask it because like for her, it's like, what do you mean? Like they're immigrants. I can't ask that question. No, you have to, because that's a great way to get to know people. Where you're from brings a ton of value to the table. And
I ask that people like to, even if they don't look like they're an immigrant, like to me, if someone tells me I'm from Manotick, I'm from South Keys, I'm from, and I use those 2 examples specifically because I can now jump on that and say, oh, I'm from South Keys. That's where I grew up. That's where we lived for like 27 years when I lived in my parents' home. If they say they're from Manotick, I can say, oh, I live there now. To me, that like this is maybe more of a networking tip, but to find a commonality with someone is so important. If I'm traveling, like I was in British Columbia last month, and I asked that question and someone says, I'm from Ottawa, I'm from Ontario, that's like such a nice icebreaker, right? Because then I can say, oh, I'm here from Ottawa too, or I'm visiting and you're from Ottawa. Or if I'm in another country and someone says they're from Canada, by all means, where are you from, to me, is a great question. Even if we're in the same city, because, maybe they say they're from Nepean or Maryville. I went to high school in that area. I live in Sandy Hill. Oh, I went to Ottawa U. Like it's just a nice way to get the conversation going.
Definitely. It's like a weird way to break the ice in a very sort of non-threatening way.
And my earlier point was just going to be like those types of questions to me in other parts of the world are more central than what do you do? And I feel like here, what do you do has become the first and central question, and all those other things have taken a back seat.
Yeah.
Because for some people, what do you do if the answer isn't what they're looking for, they move on. It's very transactional.
Correct.
And to me, that's kind of, it almost gives you that slimy, sleazy feeling. It's like,
I think we were talking about this in text, you and I.
yeah,
Transactional.
Because if someone's like, I'll use the example of an accountant because I'm an accountant, and I'm not trying to downgrade anybody, so I'll use my own example. But if it would be like, I'm an accountant and I said, hey, what do you do? And your answer did not include business owner, corporation, because that's my type of accounting that I specifically do. And I said, okay, thank you. And I moved on. That
Like
to me
if I was an employee.
Exactly. like
You'd be like, oh, he's a nobody. I'm just going to move on.
Yeah, but that's just not how things should be done, in my opinion.
But that could be a big mistake, right?
100%.
Because I could be that key employee that you're looking for.
You could be a
boss
key
has my ear, as an example.
You could be a key employee. You could be a friend. You could be someone that helps me in a different aspect of my life.
Or I could also be downgrading the fact that I am the employee, but I'm also the CEO.
Yeah, like to me, I'm leaving a lot on the table by not trying to get to know someone.
Yeah.
It's not just about what they do. There's just so much more to it. Like there'll be people that are behind the scenes, like you said. There'll be people that are influential and maybe their spouse is something. Yeah. There'll be people that want to become your friends. There'll be people that, share some kind of hobby of interest. Like I like basketball and maybe like basketball and they can invite me to something. Like there's just more to it than just leaving it.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret about networking. In the last year, I've done about 1/3 of my business came from Beyond Network. Believe it or not. Not directly, in a way, but somehow related to Beyond Networking. Why? Because I got to know all of those people at Beyond. And the fact that we just don't really care about what the person does and more about the person themselves, it's really where that relationship gets built.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where they go, oh, you might not be able to help me, but hey, so-and-so is looking for a restaurant. Or, hey, you might not be able to help me, but so-and-so is looking for an accountant. I go, yeah, actually, I have the perfect accountant for you. So, like, the beauty of this is, like, you just have to, it's a little bit counterintuitive in a way. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but very counterintuitive to a lot of the networking events that we've been to, aside from Beyond. And that counterintuitiveness is actually what make it more interesting and gets you a lot more business without being transactional.
Yes. There's a really good quote. I don't recall the author who said the quote, but the quote basically goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
It's all about getting to know the person.
I repeat that to my team almost daily.
Oh, beautiful.
Daily. Because at the end of it, like you said, people don't really give a crap what you do.
Mm-hmm.
What they care about is like, what's in it for me? Like if you and I are talking, a lot of the times I'm coming in on like, what's in it for me? Well, no, I should be caring about what's in it for you first. If I can help you, the chances are you're going to help me, no problem.
And truly, if someone wants to be good at networking, that is a very, very basic tip that I want to make sure that they're aware of. Networking isn't leading with, how can you help me?
It's how can I help you?
Networking is leading with, how can I help you? Yeah. Whether that's, and everyone can help someone, like whether that's in our conversation, you mentioned that you're looking for something and I spend a few minutes after our meeting, like let's say you're buying, let's say in our conversation you said, oh, I'm trying to get rid of my old doorbell and install a smart doorbell.
Yeah.
Because, my spouse keeps saying that we want to be able to see the packages, let's say something like that. And after our meeting, I spend 10, 15 minutes on Google and I find 2 or 3 smart doorbells. And one of them is the one that I have in my house. And I send you, hey, Fadi, it was nice to meet you. You had mentioned that your spouse wants to get a smart doorbell and it's, causing you a lot of frustration to figure out. I've found 3 very popular smart doorbells for you. And, here's the one that I use. If you have any questions about the one I use, let me know.
Yeah.
Like that's value. And it has nothing to do with like you trying to sell them something, you trying to, be pushy or salesy, like you're just helping. And that, to me, will leave a really good impression on the recipient.
100%.
And the recipient might come back and say, oh, this is great. We should, we should keep in touch. We should exchange phone numbers. We should, meet for coffee. Like there's so many outcomes.
100%. A bigger, like another one that I just want to share kind of an example as well too. Like you're there talking to folks and one of those people, I'm not going to mention any names, but like mention something about hiring a certain expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in that industry, and I know some people in that. And I said, wow, nothing off my, like, it's not really affecting me in any way by doing the connection. And I said, hey, actually, I know somebody that worked for that company and did this, whatever. They have this expertise. I'll point them your way and then just let you take it from there. He ended up hiring them and somebody else as well, too, from that organization, because they got that.
Yeah, they hit it off.
And then I get a call, hey, thank you so much. They're starting tomorrow. And I go, great. That's amazing. At the end of the day, doing it this way, you just did two people a favor.
You look good in all scenarios then, because the person that got helped, that you recommended, the person that maybe hired them because they were looking for someone. To me, networking has an infinite potential. When you go and you meet someone, or even sometimes networking, sometimes people don't realize this, seeing someone you know but you haven't seen in a while is networking too, in a way.
Yeah.
Because you haven't seen that person in a while, you see them, they're doing something that you didn't know about. You know, it's been 2 years since you saw them, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. They forgot what you can offer, and what you offer and what they're doing now work together. There's unlimited potential. Like when you go into an event, like a Beyond Networking event or any event, you might make a friend, and what's the price of friendship? Like, it's priceless. You might meet a client, and what's to say that might be a huge client or a small client or whatever.
You never know.
You might meet someone that can refer you other business because they have referrals. You might get some information about smart doorbells that you were looking for, and now that you can pick one, your spouse will stop bothering you because you're taking forever to install one.
Possibilities are beyond networking.
Right. Literally, it's infinite.
Literally beyond.
It's infinite.
Beyond.
Yeah. Networking has an unlimited.
With that being said, Sarwar, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and being on the show and being one of my great friends. Really appreciate it, man. Genuinely. Thank you guys that you're listening, and please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, so you can get more and more episodes coming up like this. Now it's season 2, and there's so many different people that we're going to be bringing on the show, businesses that we sometimes meet at Beyond, and sometimes we meet outside of Beyond, that we would love to bring on the show and just kind of share their story with you and the audience in Ottawa. And for everybody out there, don't forget, subscribe to Beyond as well, too, and come to their events. You're going to learn something. You're going to find something. You're guaranteed going to come out with a few friends at the end of the day. Thanks again.